Hello, you're watching Nightline and I'm Norzie Patwanche, news making the headlines. All set for 5-day special Parliament sitting on Monday. And over 17,000 new COVID-19 cases. Total caseload passes 1 million mark. Hours before a planned walkout by a group of contract doctors scheduled for Monday at government hospitals and clinics across the country, the Health Director General called on all his fellow colleagues, doctors and healthcare workers to remember the oath they all made when they began the profession, and that is primum non nocere, first do no harm or injustice to patients. To the junior colleagues on contract posts, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah urged them not to join the demonstration and abandon their duty to their patients. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said that many lives are on the line and the demonstration could affect their lives and even their career. He said while it is understood that they wish to continue serving the Health Ministry in a permanent post, currently the government has announced a 2-year extension of the contract position. In his Facebook post late Sunday, he explained that the move is to give time for the amendment to be made to the Pension Act so that permanent positions can be allowed to be employed with Employees Provident Fund or EPF, i.e. without pension option. The Health DG said the government will allow those in contract position to continue their masters even in contract position and will offer the permanent EPF position once made available. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also reminded them that patients' safety is the priority. He said, quote, "Remember the oath we took sincerely and be there for your patients at the time when they and the country needed you the most. We are the last bastion of defence to make a difference to our patients and every life matters," unquote. For the first time in 2021, the Dewan Rakyat convenes on Monday in a special meeting called during an ongoing emergency declared to curb the COVID-19 pandemic that has seen almost 1 million cases in the country. The Dewan Rakyat will sit for 5 days from July 26th to 29th and on August 2nd. The August House will see members of Parliament hear government statements on the emergency and measures to fight the pandemic, as well as ministers addressing issues raised by the MPs. The special sitting is held in accordance with Standing Order 11.3 of the Dewan Rakyat. This session varies from the normal meetings because there is no official opening by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. As to debates and question and answer sessions, Dewan Rakyat Speaker Dato' Azhar Azizan Harun clarifies.
This is a misconception. I have from day one allowed debates. In fact, in my notices to all the Member of Parliament, I state very clearly and expressly that I will allow all questions, I will allow all proposal, all discussion and everything. So I do not know where this perception that I'm not going to allow debate come from. You know, it is false. It's not true.
According to the order paper for Monday, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin will make a statement on the National Recovery Plan, NRP, a strategy to exit the COVID-19 crisis. Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob will make a statement on the proclamation of the emergency. Health Minister Datuk Sri Adam Baba will make a statement on Malaysia's action plan to tackle the pandemic. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, who is the coordinating minister for the National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme on the vaccination programme. And Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz on the economic aid packages. For the record, only matters set by the Prime Minister would be discussed. The Dewan Rakyat Speaker explains why no other motion would be allowed.
Motion ni sebab ini this is a special sitting. Okay, this special sitting is different from the normal sitting. Okay, special sitting is called pursuant to and under Standing Order 11 in bracket 3 of the standing orders. Yeah, 11 in bracket 3. Okay. It is called by the Prime Minister. All right. And only the Prime Minister will appoint the business to be transacted during a special sitting. Okay, so nobody else has a say on what is to be discussed during a special sitting other than the Prime Minister. Yeah, and this is not unique in Malaysia. This is. I mean, we many lawyers out there, many professors and whatever out there love to refer to the House of Commons UK. Even in the House of Commons, it's the same. Okay, a special sitting in England in the House of Commons, the business and the motion are only government business and government motion to be appointed by them. So that is what it is. And I do not have the power to allow any kind of motion unless the Prime Minister says so.
All MPs are allowed into the House despite not being vaccinated, but they are advised to be careful as they will have to carry out their duties as provided under the Federal Constitution. The Speaker said that the majority of MPs have received 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccine.
I'm not imposing any limit.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no limit. Okay, but I'm going to ask for cooperation from the party chief. Yeah, if possible, they could rotate their members once an hour, once in every hour, if possible. Yeah, but I'm not going to impose.
The nation's total number of COVID-19 cases has passed the 1 million mark as the country registered a whopping 17,045 new cases, breaking the previous day's record of 15,902. Selangor again topped the list with 8,500 cases, followed by Kuala Lumpur with 2,045 and Kedah 1,216 cases. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a statement said of the total number of cases reported, 187 cases were from Category 5, 124 in Category 4 and 122 in Category 3. According to the Health Ministry, 92 new deaths were recorded, bringing Malaysia's COVID-19 death toll to 7,994. In the intensive care unit, there were 970 patients, with more than 500 of them requiring respiratory assistance. Of the 34 new clusters detected, 18 were related to workplaces. Saudi Arabia's King Salman Abdul Aziz Al Saud has directed the King Salman Centre for Relief and Humanitarian Action, or KS Relief, to urgently support Malaysia with medical supplies to help the country overcome challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Saudi Gazette, in a report, quoted KS Relief Supervisor General Dr. Abdullah Abdul Aziz Al Rabiah as saying that King Salman's directive demonstrated the depth of the strong relations between the two countries. KS Relief said it will coordinate with the Office of the Malaysian Foreign Minister to secure a contract with one of the approved international vaccine makers to supply the required quantities directly to Malaysia. KS Relief also shared that the medical aid comprises 1 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines. Meanwhile, Senior Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hussein said the royal order came in response to a request made during his talks with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and that Malaysia is extremely grateful for King Salman's desire to assist. Datuk Sri Hishamuddin, who is also Senior Minister for Security Cluster, said that Malaysia will work closely with the Crown Prince and Wisma Putra will work out details of the assistance from Saudi Arabia. The senior foreign minister said he viewed the aid as a great honour and one that symbolises the sincerity of the Saudi Arabian government in establishing friendship with Malaysia. He said Malaysia extends its heartfelt gratitude to King Salman, Crown Prince Mohammed and the Saudi Arabian government for their kindness and deep concern. About 30% of frontline workers in the tourism sector have been vaccinated against COVID-19 so far. Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri said the ministry is doing its best to gather information on the vaccination level of industry players in tourist hotspots throughout the country.
Tanggungjawab kita untuk membantu untuk menggandakan orang yang divaksinasikan supaya dapat mempercepatkan proses untuk membuka tempat-tempat pelancungan ini.
Datuk Seri Nancy said this at a vaccination program in Pulau Pangkor, Perak on Sunday. She said tourism frontliners such as taxi drivers and hotel workers needed to be vaccinated as a preparation to welcome back tourists. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Nancy in a statement said Pulau Pangkor is expected to achieve 80% herd immunity by early September. She said the Manjung Health Office had started an outreach program 3 days a week for 8 consecutive weeks from July 16th with a target of vaccinating 540 people a day. Babysitter, husband and 13-year-old niece charged over abuse of toddlers. This when we return. In Johor, a babysitter, her husband and a niece pleaded not guilty in the Johor Bahru Sessions Court to 2 charges of abusing 2 children aged 2 and 3 last month. Fazalina Muhammad Lias, aged 37, Mansur Saad, 57 and a 13-year-old girl entered the plea after the charges were read out to them before Judge Ahmad Fuad Othman. According to the charge, the 3 who were responsible for the care of the 2 children had mistreated and caused them to suffer physical injuries. They were charged with committing the offence at Taman Bukit Kempas on June 10th at about 3 p.m. They were charged under the Child Act 2001, which provides a maximum fine of 20,000 ringgit or a jail term of not more than 20 years or both if convicted. The court allowed the couple bail of 8,000 ringgit each with 1 surety, while the teenager was released on 1,500 ringgit bail with 1 surety. The court fixed August 22nd for remention and submission of report from the Social Welfare Department. In Selangor, police are probing a case where a man on a courier service motorcycle snatched a gold chain from a woman who was about to take her husband to the Selayang hospital. The CCTV footage of the incident has gone viral. According to Gombak District Police Chief ACP Zainal Muhammad, in the incident last Tuesday, the victim was getting her husband into an e-hailing car when the suspect approached her on his bike in Taman Selayang Makmur. The victim's chain was worth more than 3,500 ringgit. Police are investigating the case under the Penal Code. Those with any information on the incident can assist the police by contacting the nearest police station. In Sabah, a 67-year-old local man was detained in a raid at a premises in Sandakan last Friday for allegedly dealing in over 8 tons of subsidised cooking oil without a valid licence. Sandakan Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry Branch Chief Muhammad Hashim said workers on the premises were seen cutting subsidised 1 kilogram cooking oil packets during the raid. Muhammad said the cooking oil was then poured into a black tank before being channeled into a plastic tank by using a pipe outside the premises. He said the suspect admitted to receiving the subsidised cooking oil from licensed wholesalers around Sandakan. The suspect also admitted to selling the cooking oil to restaurants and industrial sectors to reap a high profit. Muhammad said cooking oil worth over 20,000 ringgit along with equipment worth 2,000 ringgit was seized during the raid. Still to come, Australians may face a longer lockdown after reckless mass protests. Australia's New South Wales logged its second highest daily increase of the year in locally acquired COVID-19 cases on Sunday amid fears of a wave of new infections after thousands of people joined an anti-lockdown protest. The outbreak, which began in June, is being driven by the highly contagious Delta variant of the virus and has now infected 2,081 people in New South Wales. Under fire for a slow vaccine rollout, Prime Minister Scott Morrison said more vaccine supply was not going to ensure New South Wales gets out of lockdown, but what was needed was an effective, properly enforced lockdown. He called the anti-lockdown protests in Sydney reckless and self-defeating. Despite its struggles with spikes of infections, Australia has managed to keep its epidemic largely under control, with a total of about 32,600 cases and 918 deaths. Over in the U.S., flames racing through rugged terrain in Northern California destroyed multiple homes Saturday as the state's largest wildfire intensified and numerous other blazes battered the U.S. West. The Dixie Fire, which started July 14, had already leveled over a dozen houses and other structures when it tore through the tiny community of Indian Falls after dark. An updated damage estimate was not immediately available, though fire officials said the blaze has charred more than 181,000 acres in Plumas and Butte counties and was only 20% contained. The fire was also burning in a remote area with limited access, hampering firefighters' efforts as it charged eastward. It has prompted evacuation orders in several small communities and along the west shore of Lake Almanor, a popular area getaway. Heavy smoke from the Dixie Fire lowered visibility and may at times ground aircraft providing support for fire crews. More than 85 large wildfires were burning around the country, most of them in western states, and they had burned over 1.4 million acres of land. In Croatia, a bus swerved off a highway and crashed early Sunday, killing 10 people and injuring at least 45 others. According to authorities, the crash occurred at about 6 a.m. local time near the town of Slavonski Brod on the highway between the capital Zagreb and the Serbian capital, or rather border. The cause of the crash, however, was not immediately known. The 45 injured were transferred to the hospital in Slavonski Brod. Police said the bus had Kosovo license plates and was on a regular route from Germany to Kosovo capital, Pristina, which is located south of Serbia. The highway where the crash happened is a key traffic artery through Croatia, which is busy over the summer because of tourism and foreign workers travelling home from Western Europe. Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković expressed sadness and grief and extended his condolences to the relatives of the people who died in the crash and the people of Kosovo. Let's take a look now at some of the highlights in Malaysia's main newspapers for Monday, July the 26th. The New Straits Times and Harian Metro both focus on Malaysia's somber milestone of COVID-19 cases breaching the 1 million mark, with almost 1,000 people in ICUs on Sunday after daily cases surged past 17,000. Berita Harian, in the meantime, spotlights the special parliamentary sitting on Monday, where debates and ministerial question time will be allowed. Finally, taking the front page of the Malaysian Reserve is an article on live arts on the verge of collapse due to COVID-19 restrictions. Get your copies or subscribe to the online newspaper. Nestled in Tibetan Plateau, China is building a resort town to take advantage of the vistas and cultural traditions of the Dragon King Valley. The town is designed to welcome 1.5 million tourists a year, but in 2020, COVID-19 slashed the tourism population by half at around 500,000. Let's take a look as we wrap up Nightline this time around. I'm Norzie. Thank you for watching and stay safe.